Okay, let's go. Hello! So, a few people have asked me to do a ranty battle video that I suggested I could do. I looked at how the Welsh are presented in the Last Kingdom. I will put a little link up to it. There, I think? Or there. Put a little link up to it. There. So, this is that ranty battle video. I had some footage of me kind of critiquing the tactics in the battle in the Last Kingdom, Series 4, the Battle of Tettenhall. It's a real battle. It happened in 910 AD between the Norse and the Anglo-Saxons. In the series, they have the Welsh in there as well, which isn't authentic to the period, but it brings the Welsh in, which I like because, like I mentioned in the other video, I appreciate that they're trying to show the Welsh as an important, different culture in the period. I think that's a great little additional element to the show. So this is as close to a rant as I'm comfortable getting for the moment. It's going to be a tactical breakdown of the battle in terms of the decisions that the characters make. And I go into a little bit more detail about how maybe it could have been improved slightly, but it's not like a ranty rant, like, "Rah, everything sucks, this is dreadful, kill the producer." It's just a little breakdown, almost in character breakdown of how the tactics of the battle go down. So, yeah, enjoy me criticising a fictional character's tactical decisions for your entertainment and edification. Yeah, enjoy. So, the Saxons and their Welsh allies are heavily outnumbered by the Vikings, so they've decided to dig a ditch and cover it with leaves. There's a few shields at the back, a few round shields at the back. Don't see too many of them on the Saxon side in this show. Oh. So about now... okay, they're sending everybody off to take formation. Hopefully they'll be forming a nice solid line of battle. The Vikings seem to have a nice line of battle coming over the hill. Whispering sweet nothings. Definitely a sensible tactical idea to bring your romantic interest onto the field. Just because it worked for the Theban Sacred Band. Oh, okay. Cavalry in the vanguard. Fair enough. Oh, hang on. What's going on here? That's not a shield wall. That's like a squad. Fighting in squad formation for some reason. Okay. Vikings are just running. Why are they running? Like half a mile away from the battlefield. Should be marching in good order. Alright. Get warmed up, I suppose. Okay, so we've got light cavalry and lots of infantry. All infantry armed with round shields, which is nice. That's correct. Not enough spears for the early Med period, but just called it early Med. Okay, nice long lingering staring contest. Very angry order to charge. Okay, he's going out on his own in front. Followed by like 10 cavalrymen? Oh no, there's like 20, 30 of them. Okay, this is going to go well. Obviously, we know there's a ditch there. They don't, so... Cool. Hidden ditch. Totally fair. Totally... necessary. Don't think this actually happened at the Battle of Tettenhall, but... Okay. Right, I'm going to stop it here. That's not a shield wall. That's not a formation. That's not how you advance. I mean, we know that there are like 1,000 Vikings on this battlefield, and they've managed to trip up, what, half of their cavalry? And 90% of their army is infantry, so why are they suddenly charging straight ahead? Not in formation. And about half of them are carrying shields. Like, there's people in this shot here who aren't carrying shields. Everybody should be carrying a shield, and they should be advancing carefully, if they're advancing at all. But they shouldn't really be advancing at all. They should definitely be harassing them with archers before there's any kind of infantry advance. That's just standard practice for the period, is skirmishing with missile troops, then advance with infantry and cavalry. This is just very strange tactics. This is asking to get your troops killed. Also, nobody's wearing a helmet here, which is poor decisions. Oh, there's one man wearing a helmet. Okay, so yeah, the Vikings are just charging in as well. No kind of formation. This shot really kind of typifies, I think, the tactics, which I really don't get here, how they expect this to go well. Are they just... Is this just holding tactics? Are they just fighting a glorious rearguard action? Because they've got Welsh allies as well that they've specifically called in to help them win this battle on the promise of spoil. So why would you just run towards this heaving mass of cyan-clad nutters? I mean, they're horribly disciplined. They're not in any kind of shield wall. They're not in any kind of formation at all. So if they have got archers, they're screwed. I mean, if they don't know what they're marching into, they should certainly be marching in at least some kind of protective formation. This is just a terribly fought battle on both sides so far. Oh, here come the surprise Welshmen. Okay. Most of them are carrying shields. Okay, yeah, cool. But they're sort of charging at the front as well. As far as I can tell from this shot, this might just be a recycled shot from earlier, but it looks like this straggle of people are just charging right at the front of this Viking army, which seems like a terrible idea. Yeah, no, they are charging right at the front of the army. That's really dumb. Okay. Okay, so Uhtred of Battenberg Cake is charging in without a shield at the front, unsupported by any kind of formation of infantry. Really stupid. He gonna die. If he doesn't die, it's because his plot armor is unspeakably thick. We have got archer support. Okay, cool. A bit late now that they're firing. Sorry, I've been playing Warhammer. Shooting into a melee. Shooting into melee combat is not easy, especially not when you're shooting at the unprotected backs of your troops and the shield-covered, protected fronts of the enemy troops. Like, there's going to be some blue-on-blue action here if they're not careful. This is risky. They should really have started with the archers loosing at the enemy. In fact, preferably they should have started with the archers loosing their arrows at the enemy from the front and the sides from their hidden positions. I mean, it would have given the position away of the infantry, but maybe not then. Maybe just... I don't know, but they shouldn't have done this. They shouldn't have done this. This is not smart. Right, okay, well, you'd have protected your hand if you'd been wearing a shield, wouldn't you? So, that's your fault. This is why you wear shields, guys. This is why you carry a shield into battle, is to protect you, and the person next to you from harm. So, stay in formation. Oi, alright, yeah, lots of nice, chaotic close combat. Vicious axe work. Lots of hacky slashy. The majority of people here are wearing leather armour. I think the majority of people in this period would have been fighting unarmoured or wearing padded cloth, probably, with chainmail for your more wealthy man. All of this is privately bought armour, obviously, but yeah, there's just no kind of formation. All the guys coming in at the back, the reinforcements, they're really just sort of strolling in dribs and drabs. They're not filling in positions in a line of battle that have been left by fallen men. This is very strange. The Vikings, in a similar fashion, they're not forming any kind of a front, which I don't understand. I really don't get why there's no sort of tactical nous being employed here. It's really odd. It's really weird. I'm going to carry on. Yes, the groans of the dying cyan-clad Vikings. Yeah, look at this from above here, this shot here. That's not a shield wall, because there aren't any shields. That's an infantry in line-ish, but certainly not fighting as a team, like they should be fighting as a team, with their shields up. Some of them are fighting with shields. The guy going after the cavalry isn't, for some reason. That's just suicidal, quite frankly. Oh yeah. Right through the sternum. Bleak. Nice and bleak. Yeah, this is very... there are plenty of shields in some of these shots, but they all seem to be Viking shields. And considering they're fighting unarmored, shieldless men on the opposite side, they should be absolutely hammering them, but they don't seem to be. It seems about neck and neck right now. There are the arrows. They're just straight into the melee, and they're not directly aimed shots. These are lobbed shots, so there's no real way of knowing who those arrows are going to hit. This is a poor use of archers. Oh, there you go. That's why you carry a shield. Hey, oh, straight through. What? Straight through that? Yowza. No more lungs for you. Oh, vicious. Vicious. I love it. I love it. That was just me putting my cup down. Hey, reinforcements. Oh, look. Shields and spears. Shields and spears. That is what an early medieval army looks like when it's marching into battle. That's how the Vikings should have looked. They were professionals. They trained. These people were not just scumbags with shields for the most part. The majority of these men would have trained with their weapons and trained to at least be disciplined on the field so that they didn't just collapse at the first sight of the enemy. Yes, this is nice. This looks nice. Excellent. Oh. Alright, yeah, so we're charging into the rear with, look at that, helmeted mailed cavalryman. No shields, again, I feel like they should all have shields. Very few of them charging into the rear, but they're charging into the rear of an enemy without a formation, so they should do a lot of damage. That's actually very good. Sound tactical decision, I think, there from... Oh, look, it's Edward the Elder. He's turned up as well with some more armoured cavalrymen. Great, and a longbow. Please don't try and catch the Vikings in a crossfire. I really hope that's not what's going to happen here. That'd be a terrible idea. I don't get why a lot of those decisions were made tactically from the characters now, not from the TV show makers. I mean, it makes for an entertaining battle scene. That is an entertaining battle scene. Lots of arrows, lots of blood, lots of sternums getting crushed under axes, and that's all good visceral stuff. I just don't really know why the characters decided to make those decisions. Like, they had spearmen with shields when the Welsh turned up, so why would you not just form a shield wall with those and then have some of your other infantry in the woods on each flank to kind of come down and ambush the Vikings after the horses get trapped? Or why they didn't use their archers until halfway through the battle, until actually the infantry had charged by the time the archers were loosing their first volleys, which is just a terrible idea. I mean, if they weren't in a tight shield wall before the archers loosed, they should have been afterwards. So why would you give them that kind of a heads up that a charge is about to happen? Again, I think this should have been a controlled defensive battle with a shield wall in a tight formation to defend against any initial Viking charge, then archers harrying the infantry as they try to get through the trench, then an ambush on the flanks from the Welshmen, which might have given them a little more time as a decently sized fighting force before the rest of the Saxon forces arrived from the rear, from the Vikings' rear, which might have saved them a lot of casualties. Also, give your men shields, and especially give your commanding officer a helmet and a shield. From the Vikings, I mean, I know that the big ginger, bushy man with terrible beard and strange beard rings, this isn't a costume rant. Stop it, James. I know he was eager to get at Uhtred, the main Saxon character, for a revenge plotline, so I guess having a cavalry charge as your first move is understandable. And actually, if you didn't know that ditch was there and you had no reason to suspect there was a ditch covered in brush, I think, yeah, fair enough. Unprotected, unformed infantry in a scattered, really, really widely scattered, very strange, kind of almost like a skirmish formation for archers or something, who are not visible when they set up the troops, by the way. I don't know where those archers appeared from. Yeah, fair enough. Charge at them, but have your infantry at least in a line of battle, and maybe have a rear guard. It seems weird that they didn't have any reserves, they didn't have any kind of rear guard to protect against that Saxon attack coming from the back. That's remiss. I know they're bloodthirsty Vikings, but got shields. They haven't got shields. Form a shield wall, let them throw themselves at you. They were throwing themselves at the Vikings, at the ditch. So maybe bring some archers as well. It seems like a very, very poorly thought out attack, a very poorly thought out assault by the Vikings. But yeah, in terms of the Saxons and the Welsh, that's a few serious mistakes. I'd have potentially even just, I don't know, not turned up until Edward the Elder and the other Saxons arrived. It's so strange. Yeah, overall tactically, some dumb moves there, especially with the lack of shields, the lack of formation fighting, and using the archers when they did. That's just terrible. That's a waste of men. In terms of it being an entertaining battle scene, yeah, tip top. Arrow through the hand, love it. Lots of good demonstrations of how light armor in the period and the kind of clothing that people would be fighting in wouldn't protect you against weapons. Sharp, heavily wielded weapons will just tear through the sort of thin leather that they were wearing. Obviously it's not thick boiled leather, but yeah, really, really effective looking shots. Not to be too gruesome about it, I think a few more headshots would have been good, because they're not wearing helmets. If nobody's wearing a helmet, the obvious place to go for is the head. That will kill someone, and it will at least incapacitate them in a single blow. Going for the chest, especially if they're carrying a shield, is usually not the easiest place to hit. So I think a lot more kind of sweep the leg, crush the head shots would have made that look even more visceral. But yeah, overall, as a battle scene, very entertaining. Sock-covered mic test. A sock-covered mic test. Oh yeah.